Welcome back to RSI Help YouTube. One of the most mysterious aspects to me about repetitive strain injury is time, the element of time. Because, you can do anything for a minute or two and it's not going to hurt you. But we've examined things like sitting for long periods, and now it's the new smoking. It's not a good idea. We know that it's not good to make continuous repetitive movements of the hands, especially when you're in positions that are violating the natural length and strength of a muscle or tendon. In a previous episode with Dr. Robert Markison, who's our medical expert, we talked about the effect of sustained time, making repetitive movements at using technology, computer keyboards, telephone, phones, things like that. The question I have for Dr. Markison is how much time is safe? You hear different things. I mean, Dr. Sheedy, who's the vision expert, talks about 20, 20, 20. You can look at the computer screen for 20 minutes and then you get up and you walk and look at something 20 yards away or 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So I've talked to a lot of doctors and a lot of them seem to settle on this 20 minutes at a time thing. But there's also just the sheer cumulative effect of this. So we're having Dr. Markison back on the show to talk about this issue. Welcome back, Dr. Markison. And what can you tell us about time?
That's great. Because we have nested clocks, as you know. There's the planetary clock, cosmic clock, there's God's clock, and I hope it's looking at us kindly. There is the rotation of the earth, there is us through a finite lifespan. There are nested clocks within. There are rate limiting chemical reactions that are deciding how will we decode DNA, RNA, protein structure, function, movement through time. And so we are a set of nested clocks moving through time. When you think of a white blood cell that will live 5 to 7 days, then die and be replaced, a red blood cell lives 120 days, dies, gets replaced. Our own DNA through the generations, we die, but that robust molecule goes on through progeny ancestry. So the big picture of time, the tiny pictures of nested clocks, us, and then you add Giddy time, which is digital time, which is the quote, no wait state. I send Deborah Quilter a postcard. I adhere a stamp to it. I've written it by hand. I send it through snail mail. It gets to her 3 to 5 days later. I don't expect a response like email or texting. Something comes back beautifully handwritten, perhaps cursive. It's a week. I'm happy about the week. Anticipation sweetens my moment. I'm an unbelievably patient person, almost like crops that grow in the fields. That's different. That's pre-digital. So the artifice of digital living, now 40 years old, the advent of computers in the 1980s, means that we're going from an impatient to a very impatient creature in giddy digital time. A chipmunk on the information highway, someone scattering, someone like a squirrel, schools of fish running through the ocean, frightened by a shark, the shark of time. So here we are, a species that didn't adapt to the sped up, frantic, cartoonish nature of digital time, trying to stay on the squirrel wheel without dropping off or burning up. So I'm not opposed to the digital gods that have taken over our lives and times and space, but I have to tell you by way of intro, and you can edit this however you want, I am very aware of the precious nature of time. Okay, now on point. You want to know how long to type? It depends on whether you've got enough blood flow to support typing for a long time. Okay? What does that mean? If you have cold hands, you're not fit for typing for very long because you have modest inflow, modest outflow, hypoxia, poor oxygenation of full thickness of tissues, and you'll fail under load and repetition. If you're a warm-handed species, so now we've got truly warm-blooded mammals versus cold-handed mammals, okay? And that can be hypothyroidism, can be bad luck can be Raynaud's, where you go into tight vasospasm and your fingers are white or purplish and so on. Bad ancestral luck. It was initially Maurice Raynaud, 1903 in Paris. French forestry workers' hands were so cold they couldn't do their forestry, but we realized that anybody could have that cold-handedness. So let's say you're a warm-blooded, fully warm-blooded, fingers to toes, nose person. That means that you're going to go for about 15 or 20 minutes. It's non-percussive. You put your little recording device, telephone, cell phone around the computer and find out, oh, I like that. It's so quiet. It's like a leaf on a pond in autumn. I'm not percussive. I'm not angry. No matter what the deadline, they'll never see me sweat. They'll never see me go beyond the ANSI standard of 1.5 ounces key pressure per character generated. Not me, not I. So, non-percussive typing, worm-handed, 15 or 20 minutes, take a few minutes break. Sit up straight, stretch but not to an extreme, drink some non-caffeinated fluids so that you're not going to be in a net loss situation. Breathe a little bit. You know, for me, I always have this. I don't care if you play music or you just hum a tune, but there's nothing wrong with. So all I do is think, okay, so I've added a metronomic clock of music, but I just relax. Fluency across domains defines us as a species. Creativity, obviously, is connecting the apparently disparate domains. You might have a very good daydream that puts you back to work in a very good frame of mind. So it's not just straight oxygenation, sit up straight. It's about how you refresh the mind after 20 minutes of potentially grueling activity. But again, since I'm using voice recognition software and I'm a reasonably articulate human who doesn't spend his days and nights saying, it's like I'm all like, she's all like, him and me went to the store, whatever, you know, right? Smiley face. I don't do that. I construct full sentences, paragraphs, maybe even an anthology if I want to. So clear speech, voice recognition software, sitting up straight, means that I can go for 8 to 12 hours. As long as I've got some active seating, I'm relaxed, reasonably nourished, and so on. But hands-on, I don't like to go more than 20 minutes without a truly refreshing brain-body break. Then I'll go on, and how many hours total for a day? I've got good endurance, so it doesn't matter to me. But the 20 minutes, and then maybe take a minute or two, sometimes a little more. And again, this is driven by blood flow, your basic endocrinology, metabolism, nutrition. And you want to eat well, you want to drink well. We're a moist species on a water planet that's 72% water. Why would you eat dry goods on a break? Because we're going to leach out all the body fluid that is the lifeblood of moving members and thinking brain. So, moist species, water planet, moist food. Don't eat dry goods. It's a waste of metabolism and total vascular volume. But yeah, 20 minutes, take a little break, something refreshing, pleasant, interact with fellow humans, and go forth. But do most of your work by voice. If it's writing code, then you're going to have a different situation where you're doing computer code, which is unforgiving and not voice friendly. So you're going to perhaps go 10 or 15 minutes, take a 2 or 3 minute break, and resituate yourself, and you'll be okay. Now, the cold-handed folk who have cold hands, and you're checking on any exposed part of the head, whether or not you got a mask on. If they're cold, you're not fit to work. You prehydrate. You make sure they're nice and warm. You relax. You breathe. The imagery opening up aorta, large, medium, small capillary vessels, equally important. Visualizing good washout, waste washout. So you've got active, brisk, fresh rivers that are well supplied, inflow, outflow. Hands are warming up. You're well hydrated. You're shedding emotional stress best you can. More Dalai Lama, less Don Knotts. And so you just totally relaxed, loose as a goose, warm as toast. Bam. But if you're staying cold-handed, I'd go maybe 10 minutes, take a 30-second break. Go back again. but always respect blood flow.
What I think it's good that you're talking about variations, and not everybody is the same. Not everybody has the same sort of endurance. I mean, people have hypermobile joints, for instance. They're not going to have the same sort of safety in their own structure as somebody who's, really a, a fire plug, someone who's just very sturdy and stable. And um, I think one of the things that I like to emphasize when I'm counseling people is to really pay attention. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? How am I feeling? And, to stop if there's any hint of soreness, pain, tingling, anything that would suggest that the body is not happy. I would say enough is enough.
I agree with that, and I'm not promoting laziness or slacking off. I'm just saying you want to feel good and nice and fluent as you go. And I strongly recommend everybody get up through fits and starts with voice recognition software, in which I've never had any financial interest, nor do I have any financial interest in any props that I have around me. But somewhere between voice, foot switches, a
Yeah.
terribly light touch on a keyboard, and proper postures, good hydration. And again, we talked in other episodes about drugs, prescription medications, and how they might help you in some way. But the Rob Peter DePaul equation is they can have musculotendinous nerve side effects, other problems, including basic challenge to the energy power plants called mitochondria, populating 25% of our 3 trillion cells, notably statin medications, which may be necessary to protect coronary and other circulation. But the Rob Peter to pay Paul is you can deplete natural production of energy, adenosine triphosphate, at mitochondrial levels. So you don't want to have a energy failure.
Yes. And we will link to that episode so that people can learn more about it. This is all really great advice. I mean, I love the idea of sort of active fidgeting. Personally, I get a lot of my best ideas when I'm a pacer. So I will be thinking about something and walking, and that seems to bring the blood to my brain. Like, usually I'm more productive after I get back from my walk. Um, anyway, thank you so much for enlightening us about this topic, Dr. Markison, and we hope to have you back really soon.
Always a joy.